It was a rainy Tuesday morning when drivers along the busy interstate started honking furiously. Windshield wipers battled the downpour, and visibility was low, but every vehicle came to a screeching halt. Not because of an accident, not because of roadblocks, but because of a single, soaked German shepherd standing defiantly in the middle of the road, refusing to move. At first, people thought it was just a stray confused by the storm. Some shouted from their windows. Others tried to nudge forward, hoping the dog would run off. But he didn't. He wouldn't. He barked, loud and sharp, not at the cars but toward the trees beside the highway. Then he turned back, eyes pleading, before running a few feet into the woods and stopping. Looking back. Waiting. It was like he was trying to say something, trying to tell someone to follow. Inside her car, 42-year-old nurse Anna Walker gripped the steering wheel tightly. She just finished a 14-hour night shift at the hospital and was on her way home, exhausted. But something in that dog's eyes wouldn't let her look away. Something desperate and heartbreaking. She stepped out into the rain. "Hey boy," she called, cautiously approaching. "What is it? What are you trying to show us?" The dog didn't bark. He just wagged his tail once and ran into the woods again. Anna hesitated. The rain soaked her scrubs instantly. The drivers behind her honked and yelled, but she ignored them. Something told her this wasn't just a random stray. This dog had a reason, a purpose. She followed him. Branches scratched her arms, her shoes slid in the mud, but the dog kept glancing back to make sure she was still with him. After about 50 yards, he stopped near a fallen log and began barking wildly, circling something. Anna's heart dropped. There, lying behind the log, was a boy, maybe 6 or 7 years old. Soaked, shivering, barely conscious. His lips were blue. "Oh my God," she gasped, dropping to her knees. "Sweetheart, can you hear me?" No response. Her medical training kicked in. She checked his breathing, shallow but present. Pulse faint but there. She whipped off her jacket and wrapped it around his small frame. "Help! Someone help!" she screamed toward the road. "There's a child here." She turned back to the dog, who sat beside the boy protectively, watching her every move. "You did this," she whispered. "You saved him." Moments later, another driver who had followed Anna into the woods called emergency services. The child was rushed to the hospital. Hypothermic, but alive. And the dog. He refused to leave the boy's side, even when the paramedics arrived. Anna rode in the ambulance with them both. As she looked at the brave creature curled around the boy, she couldn't hold back tears. Nobody knew yet who the child was. No ID. No missing person report. But one thing was certain. That boy would have died if the dog hadn't stopped traffic. And this was only the beginning of the story. The hospital lights were dimmed as Anna paced the hallway, her soaked shoes squeaking with each step. Doctors were stabilizing the boy, warming his frail body with heated blankets and fluids. The child still hadn't woken up, and nobody had come forward to claim him. Anna sat in the waiting room, holding a towel-wrapped bundle. The German shepherd, who had finally allowed a nurse to dry him off. His fur was matted and tangled, but his eyes were calm now, like he knew his job was done. But something nagged at Anna's heart. "Where did you come from?" she whispered, gently stroking the dog's head. "And how did you find that boy?" The veterinarian who had been called to check on the dog arrived shortly after. His name was Dr. Patel, and he carefully examined the shepherd's worn paws and slight limp. "He's been through something," the vet muttered. "He's not just some random stray." Anna nodded. "I don't think he is. He's special." When the boy finally opened his eyes later that evening, his first word wasn't mommy or help. It was, "Buddy." The dog's ears perked up immediately. He leapt from Anna's lap and ran to the hospital bed, tail wagging like mad. The boy sat up, weakly but with wide eyes. "You found me," he whispered, tears mixing with the 4 tape on his cheeks. "I knew you'd come." Anna stood frozen. "Is he yours?" The boy nodded slowly. "He's my best friend. He ran away to get help. I slipped when we were walking and couldn't move. I thought I was gonna, but Buddy didn't leave me." It took hours to piece the full story together. The boy's name was Max. He and his dog had been walking a forest path near their home. A home that turned out to be over a mile from where they were found. When Max slipped down an embankment and got trapped behind the fallen log, Buddy had tried to stay with him. But as the cold worsened, the dog had made a decision. Leave Max's side, find people, and bring them back. It was instinct. Loyalty. Love. The police confirmed everything. Max's parents, frantic, had just filed a missing person report that morning, hours after Anna had already found him. They arrived at the hospital, overcome with emotion. Max was going to be okay. And Buddy became a hero in their eyes. Reporters came the next day. Local news stations picked up the story. Hero dog stops traffic to save his best friend. Buddy didn't seem to care. He just lay at Max's feet, protective as ever. But one question lingered in Anna's mind, haunting her as she watched from the side. What if she hadn't stopped? What if no one had listened to Buddy? She thought of all the honking cars, the people who had shouted at the dog to move, of how easily his cries could have been ignored. That moment, the moment she stepped into the rain, had changed everything. As Max drifted back to sleep, holding onto Buddy's fur like a lifeline, Anna wiped a tear from her cheek. She had saved a life, but only because a dog had dared to ask for help. And something deep inside told her, this wasn't over yet. Over the next few days, the hospital became a place of healing. Not just for Max, but for everyone who had witnessed the miracle. Nurses and doctors alike couldn't stop talking about Buddy, the dog who braved traffic and storm to save a child. Buddy never left Max's side. He lay under the hospital bed, his ears always alert. When Max stirred in his sleep, Buddy would nuzzle closer. When a nurse entered the room, he'd sit up, calm but watchful. The bond between them was unbreakable. Word spread fast. A local rescue organization contacted Max's parents and offered to cover Buddy's lifetime medical care. A well-known dog food company sent a care package and a thank you letter, calling Buddy a symbol of loyalty in a world that needs more of it. But there was more. Anna had become part of the family. Max's parents invited her over for dinner once Max was discharged. She had started checking in daily, not just because she felt connected to Max, but because something about that moment in the rain had awakened something deep inside her. I was just going home that day, she told Max's mom. I didn't know I was about to meet two heroes. Max grinned. You're our hero too. Buddy found you because he knew you'd listen. The three of them looked at the dog, who lay on the floor chewing a treat, but perked his ears at the sound of his name. Then came a moment Anna hadn't expected. Max has been drawing pictures of that day, his mom said, showing a crayon sketch. It showed a stick figure woman in scrubs, a boy, and a dog in the rain. Written in big, crooked letters. My heroes. Anna blinked back tears. But even happy endings come with reflection. A few weeks later, Max's story, and Buddy's, had gone viral. A documentary team approached the family. Schools wanted Max to visit and talk about Buddy, but the family decided to keep things quiet. Buddy had done what he did out of love, not for cameras. Still, one final gesture came that left Anna speechless. On Max's 8th birthday, his parents held a small party at the park. There were balloons, cake, laughter, and a little ceremony. Max held a certificate and read it out loud. To Buddy for bravery, love, and saving my life. I name you, the world's best dog. Everyone clapped. Even Buddy barked once, as if accepting the title. Then Max turned to Anna and handed her a second envelope. She opened it, and inside was a small card that read, "Thank you for seeing what others didn't." She hugged him tightly. Later, as she walked to her car, she looked back. Max was chasing Buddy in circles, the sunlight glinting off their laughter. This wasn't just a rescue story. It was a story about instincts that cross species, about a bond forged in crisis, about what happens when someone dares to listen, even if it's to a voice that can't speak. And somewhere out there, on some rainy morning, maybe another soul like Buddy will be waiting. Not for attention, not for applause, but for someone willing to stop and follow.